$50 billion, and we'll use them for future negotiations on the phase two deal, because China would like to see the tariffs off, and we're okay with that, but they'll be used as a negotiating table for the phase two deal, which they would like to start immediately, and that's okay with me. We were going to wait till after the election, but they'd like to start them sooner than that, and that's okay. So we'll start that negotiation soon. It covers tremendous manufacturing, farming, a lot of rules, regulations, a lot of things are covered. It's a phase one deal, but a lot of big things are covered. And I say affectionately, the farmers are going to have to go out and buy much larger tractors because it means a lot of business, a tremendous amount of business.
And this agreement could be foundational if the Chinese keep their word, if they honor the agreement. Historically, that's been a problem for China. It could be a roadmap, however, to not only a strong and steady trade relationship, but to a cooperative partnership between the two nations. The agreement provides protection of intellectual property, the end of forced technology transfer, dispute resolution, and enforceability. It also includes purchase commitments, as the president said, for agricultural goods, manufactured goods, energy, and services. And joining us tonight, one of those to whom the president turns for counsel, who advises the president on trade and China, Dr. Michael Pillsbury, director of the Center for Chinese Strategy at the Hudson Institute, author of The 100-Year Marathon. Mike, good to have you with us. Sum up for us, if you will, your judgment about this deal as it now stands.
Well, the most striking thing, I think, Lou, was this morning when the 6 Chinese officials in Beijing had a press conference. Chinese officials don't usually have press conferences anyway. And in this case, they were conciliatory toward President Trump. It's an example of what I've been talking about for a couple of years now. They have an extraordinary respect for him for a variety of reasons. One of them, Lou, I brought to show you tonight is this book called Great Again, President Trump wrote 4 years ago. It's got a section on China where he says China will be the biggest challenge to America in the future. He says they're the smartest negotiators in the world. Then he lays out what he's going to do. And that's just about what he's done. Right. This is a very detailed agreement, and the Chinese this morning said to the world, this is true. We have agreed to this agreement. What was even more surprising, Lou, they didn't want to come to these talks at all a year and a half ago.
Right.
They said, we don't cheat, there's nothing to talk about. This time, this morning, they said they want to go on immediately to phase 2 of the talks. So this is just astounding to me. I've seen 8 presidents and advised 8 presidents, including Obama, who I'm sorry, I hope you'll forgive me, Lou, I was a paid consultant to President Obama on China.
I'm only upset that he didn't obviously take your advice.
Nobody has got this kind of deal before from China. So the president's achievement is only hurt by the fact that the text is available only to a few people. It's 86 pages. I think when the signing ceremony takes place in 2 or 3 weeks, when it's all translated for the Chinese properly, we're going to have a real reaction that this is really just a phenomenal achievement by the president.
Yeah, I personally, I think that it's remarkable. The enforceability, Robert Lighthizer, the president's trade representative, negotiating through this. He's accomplished a great deal.
Yes.
He couldn't have been darker in prospect than in October after the basic dissolution of whatever agreement there was between the two countries. After the disappointment of May when the Chinese reneged, the smart money, at least a good amount of it, was betting no way in hell the two countries going to come together.
They were so wrong, weren't they?
Well, as often the smart money is in this country, thank goodness. The smart money, though, is at least represented by Wall Street. They have to, they have to be thrilled with this deal. Opening markets, financial markets. Give us your sense of the importance of that aspect of it.
Well, I saw the president today say that opening China is his goal. It was going to happen. That's also quite historic. It's not well understood that China has been a closed market to America and most other foreign countries for the last 40 years. It's the world's biggest market. So to make America great again and achieve his campaign promises, if the president can open up China to America, and especially if America gets in first, these various Chinese markets that have been closed. It's a huge triumph for our own growth rate and our own economy. As you know, this is one of the things the president's been saying for quite some time, that if Hillary Clinton had won the election, China would be surpassing us right about now. But it's not going to happen on his watch. But he's adding that he's going to turn China and this closed Chinese market into a source of growth for America. This is also quite impressive to me. And the Chinese now are going along with it.
And I think it's important, too, what else the president has accomplished contemporaneously. Irrespective of what happens, there are various trigger points here. The tripwires are everywhere, whether they're called that by the negotiators or not. I mean, we're going to be looking at what the purchases are by the Chinese. We're going to look at whether or not they're continuing their theft of our intellectual property. All of this, while not perhaps obvious to everyone in the public, it will be clear to our government, to our financial institutions, and the president will act, one assumes, quickly and surely in response.
Well, there's a couple of problems. I don't think Senator Schumer or Senator Rubio were very fair in their criticism of the president, saying he sold out or he can't get phase two now because...
Wait a minute. You're saying that Senator Schumer was not fair to this president? My goodness.
Schumer has actually been tough on China.
Let's show everyone what Senator Schumer said, Mike.
Oh, you've got it.
Okay. We do. And as you see it there, according to reports, he has sold out for a temporary and unreliable promise from China to purchase some soybeans, said Senator Schumer. Not a generous-hearted man, is he?
Well, he just doesn't know what's in the 86-page agreement.
Right.
And Senator Rubio's criticism I've also seen is equally unfair. I myself was a little hesitant yesterday, but I got a briefing today about the 86 pages, all the chapters. I think I fully understand now what's coming out in 2 or 3 weeks. It's just astounding what the president has achieved. But the ceremony can't happen tonight. It's going to happen in the Pillsbury household. We're using Paul Roger champagne to toast the president tonight. But it can't happen in the public at large or in Wall Street for another 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
People realize the extent of the agreement.
I'll make you a bet.
What's the bet?
They're going to be tempted to celebrate tonight. As we look at
Quietly.
As we look at what is going on here, it does seem to me to represent a really substantive progress toward moving to a meaningful trade relationship. And I do mean by that what the president articulates as a balanced and reciprocal trade relationship. How soon will we see trade deficits dissipate and then disappear?
Well, some of the optimists say there's as much as $200 billion of new purchases that could come in the next year to a year and a half.
Right.
However, we don't want to rub the Chinese nose in it and say that there's a specific number. They've complained about that. I think it's...
I don't want to rub their noses in it, Mike, but I sure as hell want to get rid of that trade deficit, as does the president, noses or not.
Just seeing the results should make us very happy, Lou. And I do think Marco Rubio is going to owe an apology to President Trump for this tweet this morning.
You know what? I think there's so many people in this country right now who owe this man an apology that it could take up a lifetime of reading to get through them all. Schumer, Pelosi, I meant exactly what I said. The radical Dems in this country, what they have done to this president, to this country, to our laws, to our Constitution, and this republic is an affront that history will not be kind to them. And they have an opportunity, if I may say, to take an exit here before they demean further themselves and are simply a blight on this nation's historical footnotes. But they don't have much time. Dr. Michael Pillsbury, great to have you with us. Thanks so much.
He did this all in spite of the impeachment trouble. He wasn't
and everything else.
He stuck to the
Impeachment,
point, got it done.
You know, special counsel, crossfire hurricane, the list goes on. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lou.